Good morning, good afternoon, good night from anywhere in the world that you're joining us. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Caroline Raffi. I am VP of Enterprise for Ducere Global Business School. I'm here with our academic manager, Juan Carlos. Thank you for joining us, Juan Carlos. We're going to get started because we only have 30 minutes here. The Global MBA program here is in partnership with Rome Business School. To give you a little bit of background, if you're not familiar with Ducere and how our programs are designed and delivered. So we are a global university group. The way the partnership works is that we design and deliver the degree. So everything from registration to our academics to content, everything is owned by us. We design and deliver it, but you get your MBA from our partner university, in this case, Rome Business School. So as soon as you get accepted to the university, you'll actually have a university student ID with Rome Business School. And when you graduate, your MBA will come from Rome Business School. During the time that you're attending the program, you don't need to worry about who do I need to contact, if there are any life-changing events happening, where do I need to go, who do I need to talk to, if you need additional resources, we will be there to support you throughout the whole program. So think of us as your concierge service, if you will. We're different than traditional universities in many ways. So our vision is to design and deliver the world's most industry applied university degrees. And I will let Juan Carlos speak more into that. That's one of the many reasons why universities like to partner up with us. So we like to partner with universities for obvious reasons. One being accreditation. Universities like to partner up with Ducere for many reasons. One being the way we deliver the degrees, and also our content, our 250 word leaders that I'll get into it. The way the MBA, Global MBA is structured is there are 6 core subjects and students take one subject at a time. So in a traditional setting, you might attend a university and you're going through your MBA, you're taking 2-3 classes at the same time. In this setting, it's different. For example, you're taking ethics and problem solving for 7 weeks. Excuse me. You have 1 week break in between, and then you start your next class, so on and so forth. Subjects that you'll be studying will be ethics and problem solving, diversity and inclusive culture, global business strategy, global marketing and communications, managing transformational change, leadership in practice, and the duration of the program from start to finish is 12 months. Excuse me. Delivery is 100% online. So you're really studying on your own time. If you want to study nights, if you want to study weekends, it's really flexible. It's tailored to a job and career, which Juan Carlos, if you want to jump on and explain how that works and the fact that it's applied work-based assignments. And you also talk about no exam, which is a surprise to some students. So I would love for you to, explain to that your expertise.
Of course, happily. Thank you for the introduction. So our model here is really about making education practical and working to grow your career. The idea behind that is that your time in your MBA program should be something like the most advanced training you could possibly get, right? Where you're taking concepts that are foundational concepts in the fields that you're studying in, and you're marrying them to what you are experiencing every day. What that means in practice is that when you come to do an assignment in a class, whether it be create a marketing plan or to try to fix an operation that could be made a little bit better, maybe with some extra use of technology or something along those lines, we recommend strongly that you work on those assessments if you feel comfortable with the current company that you're working for, or if you have an entrepreneurial bent, to put your assignments into practice on the idea that you are hoping to put into the field at some point, either during your time with us or in the future. This creates a system where you are essentially getting consultant level feedback on your practical plans from your academics who are experts in the field. And it also means that a project you might have been working on anyway now becomes something that you can not only potentially put into practice in your workplace based on what you were being asked to do, but on top of that, you can know that it has academic rigor behind it, that it's the kind of idea that is supported by the body of research in that field, that we have been able to see, hey, this is what works in this space, and this maybe not so much. And we all know that in the workplace, it's very fast paced. You don't generally have time to take a seat back and think about things and say, are we doing things the right way? Could it be a little bit better? The assignments and the way that we've structured the classes really give you that opportunity. The other thing is that if you haven't been in education for a while, that's quite all right. You might remember, especially if you've seen education in movies or TV represented since you last were in the classroom, you're going to see a lot of students sitting at a desk struggling to maybe bubble in the correct multiple choice answer. We don't do any of that stuff. That's a waste of time. How many times do you do multiple choice tests when you're an adult in a classroom, in an office? Not many, right? Maybe if somebody was quizzing you on what exact formula you should use in Microsoft Excel, maybe that have a little bit more value to your everyday life. So instead, we do our assignments, like I mentioned, practical. They are meant to guide you to help understand real business problems and create real business solutions. So you can be having the academic benefit and the professional benefit at the same time.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Yeah, I always think about when take an exam and walk out of the classroom, you forget most of the things that you're studying. And I think that's,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, that's the point, because it's work integrated and it's hands-on. And the reason why you retain is because of that, right? Then,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, tests fine in some circumstances, but I mean, think about it, right? I think the last multiple choice test I took that wasn't, like a survey that somebody sent me for buying something at CVS. I think the last real test I took was at the DMV, maybe. I don't know. Like, adults don't take tests because they're not a good story. It's not a good way of transferring information, right? Whereas a marketing plan, if you are a marketer, that's something you do on the daily, right? Like that's a question you have to answer all of the time. So why would we in academics get you to try to learn a skill that is outdated, right? To keep with the car analogy, it would be as if you had to take your exam with a manual shift, but then never ever in the rest of your life would you ever use it, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So we are adapting education to the world as it is today, not the world as maybe it was in 1955.
I love that. Thanks for that analogy. So in addition, we're talking about that it is 100% online and it's very flexible, but we don't just sign up students and leave them on their own. We're with them throughout the whole program. We have a support team that will be assigned to you as soon as you get accepted to the program, and the support team will be with you throughout the whole program to make sure it's a successful journey. And then to Juan Carlos's point, here where it says 44% of students have a salary increase or promotion before they graduate, it's specifically because of what Juan Carlos was explaining, because of the fact that you can apply what you're learning as soon as you start the program and it's relevant to the work they're doing. So this is something that we're very proud of.
And Caroline, if I may, I feel
Please.
like I get a message once a semester from a student that says, "Hey, we put this into practice already." Or the converse, you see little comments when the students submit their paper that says, "I have already pitched this idea to my boss," or something like that, right? So
I
like
love it.
it's real, like like you can see it in like live, basically, as the results are coming in. So that 44% number is not surprising at all because the students tell us they're like, "I'm doing this right now for my firm."
Amazing. Thank you. So in addition to the professors that we have, that again, fantastic, teach the courses and mark the papers and have, interaction with our students, we have over 250 world leaders that their teaching is embedded within within the curriculums. These are Nobel Prize winners, former prime ministers, billionaires, serial entrepreneurs. Again, the reason for that is to make sure that students are receiving quality education, and also to make sure that the studies that they're doing is relevant to the real world. For entry criteria, depending on if you have a bachelor degree or if you don't have a bachelor degree. So if you do have a bachelor degree, you qualify obviously for the program. If you don't have a bachelor degree, you require 3 years of management experience. And the way that works is your enrollment advisor will, you can speak with them, but we will take your resume and we submit that with your application. And then based on years of management experience that you have, we can overcome the barrier that you don't have a bachelor degree. Because let's say someone, I don't know, they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s. We have students in their 60s and 70s that they have been very successful. They're, even running companies, they're CFOs, CEOs. They're not going to go back if they want to get their degree and they don't have a BA. They're not going to go back, sit with all the respect, I don't know, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds that are just starting their undergrad, study algebra, calculus, modern dance history that is completely irrelevant to what they're doing in real life for 4 years. And then after that, go to get their MBA for another 2 years. So that would take a total of 6 years, and the cost. So what we do is, well, we believe that the real world experience, specifically management, has so much value that we can leverage that to overcome the fact that you don't have a bachelor degree. And the tuition fee for the upcoming intake for our November intake is we're offering a 50% student ambassador scholarship that lowers the cost to $9,000, and that's for the whole program. We don't have application fees. We don't have book fee. You can pay that upfront. If you choose to pay that $9,000 throughout the program, you can pay that monthly or quarterly, and we will assess a 10% fee, so it'll come to $9,900 that can be paid in 12 months, which again, if you're aware of average cost of university in the US, at least is anywhere between $80,000 to $120,000. That is very affordable degree for quality education that you'll be receiving. Some of the organizations that we work with and their managers have gone through our programs and have successfully completed the program. And then what I would like to reiterate is that for your graduation, if you're doing all your studies online, you can, study when you're traveling, on the go, if you're on a plane, if you're in a hotel. But once you finish the program for graduation, if you choose to go to Rome Business School on campus, graduate, cap and gown, walk on stage and celebrate with your friends and family, you can definitely do that. We actually encourage that because we believe that it's a great achievement and you have to celebrate your accomplishment if you can. Last but not least, we are a social enterprise, so the tuition part of the tuition that we collect will go towards our foundation that funds our nonprofit organization offering education to young kids in 27 countries in Africa, and we're boots on the ground. We publish books locally, and we also, teach the teachers there, and again, it's all also for a good cause. Juan Carlos, before we get to Q&A, I wanted to ask you more about, from academic side, what students can expect and how, how we are with interaction that we have with students and when it comes to resources and again, applying what they're learning to the real world.
Sure. So generally speaking, when you're inside of a classroom, what you're going to have is an online environment through Canvas, which, if you ask me, is the best learning management software out there. You're going to have the ability to see the classroom in a completely online setting, right? So it's a little different for those that have never done that before, but the learning curve is pretty flat here, right? Once you kind of jump on the bike, it's going to be pretty straightforward, I think. This is a software that allows us to have the same environment both on a desktop and a phone and a tablet, so you can interact with it in a flexible manner. And on top of that, the rest of the class is also flexible. So we're going to start with a live session in the first week, so you can get to meet your academic and also meet some of your classmates. Then after that, there's going to be regular sessions that are going to be tutorial sessions, so to kind of like lecture, not really because it's online and we're trying to be much more engaging than your average 2-hour lecture, but still lecture adjacent, let's call it. There's also going to be live sessions that are drop-ins that allow you to come in and ask any question you want of the faculty. Usually it's about assignments because of what we talked about earlier, that feedback that students are looking for. And those are going to happen throughout the term. So you can expect regular sessions to be available on your course calendar. Now, because this is a flexible program and because it's a global program and we have students all over the world, we recognize that it's not always going to be easy to join the live sessions, and that's fine. Attendance is not part of your grade. You're not a child. So we allow you to interact with the material as you wish. All sessions are recorded and they're posted for you shortly after they occur so that you can watch them at your leisure. We have some students who do both, attend live and watch the recording after, and good for you. That always makes us feel nice in the academic department because it feels like people are paying attention, right? So that's the component with the live sessions. There's also going to be the opportunity to interact with your classmates, not just in those sessions, but also in the discussion forums, where you're going to be able to tackle questions with your classmates and to really learn from each other's experience, which is a big benefit of having a global program. It's one thing to be in a traditional school, which has a lot of merit, but is geographically bound to a location, right? You have to be there physically. Whereas if you are in an online program that has a specifically global audience, you have the opportunity to learn from people whose experiences could not be more different. Even if they're the same age, they have the same job title in a similar industry, the fact that they're located on a different continent means that they're going to have a different story to get there. And you can learn from each other's stories. So the discussion forums and the way the class is built out really helps to bring that to the fore. Then you have your assessments. The assessments, there's always going to be video sessions to break down those assessments so that you know exactly what is expected of you and what is being looked for in that particular item, as well as all the requirements. You'll submit those assessments and then they'll be marked. You'll get the feedback, and then you'll keep on rolling. Because we don't do tests and quizzes and such, you're generally going to have a class where you might have 2, maybe 3 total assessments that you do throughout the term. And so for some students, especially that first class, they might not be used to that. They might have been in an environment before where they were expected to do something small every single week. That's busy work. We don't believe in busy work. We believe in doing stuff that's tangible. So yeah, you're gonna have regular live sessions that you can interact with at the schedule that works for you. You're gonna have the opportunity to engage with a global audience on the regular. You're gonna have those assessments that are tied directly to your professional life. If you so choose. There is, I know this question always comes up, so I try to preempt it. You don't have to do the work on your company if you don't want to. If you don't feel comfortable doing that way, you can choose any company to work on. I always recommend publicly traded companies because you have a lot of information that they have to by law make public. Plus, there's always going to be more people interested in the stock price of Coca-Cola or Tesla or Amazon than of just the random company. So that information helps you. But you don't have to do it. We just recommend it because the benefit. I mean, maybe you do work for Amazon and you can give the paper and they can apply it as well. That does happen. We have had circumstances like that in other companies as well, but not everybody's in that boat. We don't want to force that perspective. You can still do the work with any sort of assessment or with any sort of company that you feel comfortable with. And then, then you get your work completed and then you move on to the next module. That's generally what you can expect in the average module.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that one thing that I really like that you mentioned is the fact that the global factor, because when you attend a traditional university on campus, I'm going to use myself as an example. So I'm in California and I went to UCI, great school, fantastic, loved it. But the reality of the fact is we have students from San Diego, Orange County, and Los Angeles. It's very limited. But in this setting, you get students from everywhere around the globe, and which adds value to the program. Because not if it was nursing or if it was I don't know, you're studying medicine, maybe it didn't matter. But because it's business, it's really valuable what that brings to the table.
Very much, very much. And I mean, if you want to do business internationally at all, then it really pays to know what other people are thinking in other markets, right? And People don't think about this as much anymore because we've gotten so used to it. But if you're in the European Union and your company is based in France and you want to expand to Spain, that's a global expansion. There's different cultures, different language, etc. The same thing is true on this side of the pond, right? We have had a trade zone with Mexico and Canada, we being the United States, for a very long time at this point, several decades. But it's still a different country with different laws and different culture and sometimes different languages, right? And the only way to learn about cultures is to learn from them, right? And to engage with them and interact. And I feel like when we talk to students when they're completing the program, the global nature of it is always one of the things they bring up, right? Is that I can meet people from all over the world. I've had friends in different countries. We have students that go into business together across different countries. So yeah, no, the real benefit of that global nature really cannot be undersold. It's just one of the things that once you experience it, you're like, yeah, this is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. So we already have questions coming in. First question is, how many hours a week of study on average is required?
This is always a popular question. The true answer is always a frustrating one, which is it depends. It depends on your learning style. Generally, students will fall into a couple of buckets. There's the kind of student who wants to have a regular time throughout each week of the term, maybe with a little uptick when they're getting an assignment done, but they want to set aside the time every week. If you're that kind of student, you might want to reserve a few hours a week so that you can read the material, interact with your classmates, etc., and also be working on the assignments throughout the term. If you are the kind of student who maybe was more like me, which is you need to feel the pressure of the deadline in order to really be motivated to sit down on the computer screen and type away, then you're going to be, maybe an hour or two a week doing readings and responding to classmates, etc. And then the week before an assessment is due, you're going to have to, buckle down a little bit and get that work done. So your mileage may vary depending on what your preferences are. You can expect to have at least a couple of hours or so a week, regardless of which type of student you are. But that's to be expected, right? This is not a program where you just sign up and you get your degree and congratulations, right? This is hard work. And if you're going to be doing projects that are meaningful, then that's going to require time and effort. A good comparison for you individually, based on your learning habits, since we do practical work, is think about if you've worked on a marketing plan before, right? Think about how long the time you took to do it in the workplace. And it's not that bad of a comparison, right? So it is real work because it's a real thing. We wouldn't be able to tell you you can create a marketing plan and that marketing plan is going to be useful for your company, and then at the same time tell you that you're going to get it done in an hour, when if you were to do
Yes.
it on the job, it would take you much longer than that. So, that part is important, but I don't want to give you a fixed answer and then you say, well, I'm not that kind of student, so I'm not going to do that. It's like, okay. Whichever style you are, that will be the amount of work you put in. But at the minimum, you can expect at least 1 to 2 hours a week when assignments are not due. And then when assignments are due, yeah, those are gonna be weeks where you're gonna have to buckle down. That's just the nature of life.
Thank you for that. What happens if you fail an assignment? Can you resubmit?
So when it comes to assessments, we obviously want our students to do as well as possible, but sometimes sometimes it doesn't work out in a particular assignment. Generally speaking, in those circumstances, you'll be able to have a conversation with a support team and have the opportunity to maybe revisit those marks in the future with a limited cap, right? So you wouldn't be able to resubmit for 100, right? Just to get you up to the level where you can proceed. But we strive to make sure that our students know the material the first time around. That's always the primary goal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I like to say is that we like to set students up for success, not for failure.
Exactly.
And everybody, like you mentioned, they're in leadership roles or management roles. So you've had experience in the real world.
Yeah.
Um, does the course include a dissertation component?
That's a fantastic question. And the answer to that is not a dissertation in the academic sense, right? So you're not going to write a thesis. But we do have the practical elements that allow us to work on projects that are geared directly towards what you're working on in the field. So if you're looking for a report at the end that is a thesis with a doctoral chair and such, and when you finish, you get one of those funny hats. No, we don't do that. But if what you're looking at is work that is of a longer time horizon that allows you to focus on a specific practical research question, then yes, those components are part of the program.
Thank you. And I know we're talking specifically about Rome Business School, but we have a partnership with College de Paris. That program, if I'm not mistaken, that one has dissertation, right?
So it's the closer one to dissertation in the sense that the students do at the very end, they work on that on their own with a faculty advisor who walks them through the process, but it's still meant to be a practical research project. So in the case of the class is called Career Applied Project. The way it works, and the name kind of gives it away, right? The way that it generally works is that students will pick a problem that they have identified in their industry or usually in their firm, and then they will seek to tackle that using primary and secondary research that the faculty member will help guide them through. In fact, just coincidence, I had a meeting just before this one with a student who's working on their career applied project, and we were talking about how they were going to be able to research it and create their questions, etc. And not to go into too much detail of their particular project, but previous projects in the past have included questions such as turnover. There was at least a few companies that they had a spike in turnover and they wanted to seek to understand it, but like really understand it, not kind of like guesstimate why it happened in a meeting, right? Like take a real scientific research approach. That was one. Another one was there were two organizations, this was in the nonprofit world, that basically were not getting along. And it was how to understand the the struggle between the two organizations based on their past history and on the personalities involved, etc. So you can see that all of the outcomes of these potential projects are meant to be actionable. They're meant to, at the very end, say, these are the things that we're going to try to implement and hopefully solve the problem. So yeah, I think when most people are thinking of dissertation, and I don't want to accuse the asker of anything, so I'm not saying you're in this, but generally when we get the question about dissertations, we're getting questions about traditional doctoral kind of research and writing a book that no one's going to ever read. And that's not really what we do. But if the question is there a dedicated research project that you're going to spend time on, then some of our partners do have that component, yes.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, and then again, that's the beauty of, Ducere Global Business School is depending on what you really want to get out of it, what your end goal is, what your budget is and how much time you want to dedicate, then you can speak with your enrollment advisor to, put you in the right program that fits best for you. Thank you so much, Juan Carlos, for your time. That's all the time that we have. Sorry, we got one more.
Oh, we just got one, yeah.
Yeah, we just got one more. I'm from Mauritius. I've been made to understand that there is a scholarship available. Yes. So we are offering a scholarship for the November intake. If you speak with your enrollment advisor, it's a 50% scholarship. It's a student ambassador scholarship that lowers the cost from $18,000 to $9,000. If you're from Mauritius, so actually depending on which region you're on, that cost will be different. So I highly recommend that you speak with your enrollment advisor because I think for Africa and some developing nations, that cost will be different. So I strongly advise that you speak with your enrollment advisor to see what the cost is in your region.
And they're right there, right? Those QR codes?
Yes. So you can connect with we have teams in Africa, US, UK. I'm sorry, it's my bad. I only put US and UK here. But you can definitely reach out for Africa. I'm gonna put if you can, Ahmed, if you can just contact me, Caroline Raffi, I'm gonna put Um, Sorry, I'm trying to see where I can. Okay, if you send me an email, I will connect you with the right enrollment advisor.
See, this
So
is the
just
kind
send
of
me an email.
hands-on this is the kind of hands-on answers that you can expect with Ducere, right? The average the average webinars of these with other schools, you might be like, oh, just contact me later, it's fine. But then you never actually get the contact details. Here, you just had two people answer the same query, and Ahmad's question is now answered, and now he has a path directly to getting what he needs.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you for that. So yeah, if you contact me, I'll make sure to connect you with the right enrollment advisor to help you with that. Wonderful. It was great to be here. Thank you, Juan Carlos, for sharing your wisdom and your experience. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.
Nice to see you.